I'd like to welcome everyone to the Town of Stellarton Council meeting, September 11th, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. start time here at the Council Chambers. The first item is the approval of the agenda. Is there any change or additions to the agenda?
Second, Your Worship.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Knight, second by Councillor Pence. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary minded, motion carried unanimously. Thank you. There's two sets of minutes attached. July 11th, a regular meeting, July 24th, special council meetings. Are there any errors or omissions?
I move as written, Your Worship.
I'll second that.
Moved by Councillor Pence, seconded by Councillor Campbell. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary minded, motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Is there any business arising from the minutes? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to item 4, presentation of 2022-2023 audit financial statements by our finance person, Brenda McKay.
So the audit for March 31, 2023 has been completed by Grant Thornton. The auditors did meet with the audit committee and review the results of their audit in detail prior to this meeting. You have a copy of the draft copy of the statements in front of you, and I'll start with page 2, which is the independent auditor's report. I draw your attention to paragraph 1, where the auditors state that they have audited the consolidated statements, pages 4 to 28, which are attached. And in the second paragraph, in our opinion, the accompanying consolidated financial statements present fairly in all material respects. This would be an unqualified opinion. To point out, it means that they are auditing to a level of materiality at which they can say that the statements present fairly. They are not stating accuracy, but there's a level of presentation on a to present fairly in all material respects. That is the level to which they are auditing. We have a clean audit opinion. They did not find any issues. I'll get you to go to page 5 for the consolidated statement of operations. Total revenue is budgeted at $8.8 million. Total actuals at $9.7 million. To note, in that actual revenue, there's $781,000 of capital contributions or funds as revenue, but they were used to complete a capital project. They are not operational funds. And total expenses budgeted at $9.7 million to a total actual at $10.3 million. Overall, we budgeted an annual deficit of $919,000, and we've come in at $517,000 deficit. So that is an improvement over the budgeted deficit. To point out, the $10.27 million of expenses does include $1.8 million of amortization. Again, amortization of capital assets, not operating expenditures. That deficit of $517,000 is removed from the prior year accumulated surplus of $32,784,330 to come to a year-end surplus of $32,266,953. And to note that surplus includes capital as well as operating. To look at our balance sheet to see where the accumulated surplus comes from on page 4. We have financial assets to the total of $8.1 million. Last year, financial assets were at $9.79 million. That is a change of $1.7 million in financial assets. Financial liabilities at $9.55 million last year and $9.47 million this year. Overall, the long-term debt has decreased from $7.8 million down to $7.3 million. But we've added a new standard required for this year called asset retirement obligations, and that's where our buildings were assessed for any remediation that would be required at a point in time when the asset might be retired, and that for things like asbestos, that obligation sometime estimated into the future is then present value to today. That obligation is on our books at $206,852. That is new for the current year. Overall, on the net financial assets or debt, We were net financial assets in the previous year of $236,000. We are at net financial debt in the current year of $1.3 million. That is a swing of $1.5 million. But there are reasons for that. If you come down to the non-financial assets, the capital assets increased from $32.8 million to $33.8 million. That's $1 million of the swing from the net financial assets. And we know that we had internal resources required to balance the general operating fund to the tune of $300,000, and we know the operating fund for the water utility had a loss of $200,000. So there's your $1.5 million swing on the net financial assets. The accumulated surplus changed from $32.784 million to $32.266, the $500,000 that we've talked about in the statement of operations. Page 6 of your statements is the statement of consolidated statement of changes in net financial assets or debt. That's the details to come to the net financial assets / debt balance. And page 7 is your consolidated statement of cash flows, which is where our cash came from and where our cash was used, what our cash was used for. Pages 8 through to 13 are details to support the statement of operations. And from page 14 to page 28 are the notes and other supporting schedules to the financial statements. Overall, the audit was positive. Results were somewhat delayed this year, waiting on some confirmation on some Fiona funding, but it's completed with a clean audit opinion.
Okay, thank you, Brenda, and our CEO, Susan, and our team downstairs for the work on the audit, as well as the Grant Thornton for their work as well. As Brenda mentioned, it is a clean audit opinion, which is what council wants to see, so we're very pleased with that. I guess I can highlight a few things for the public. This last fiscal year, which ended March 31st, 2023, we spent $2.65 million in capital. We did Marie Street, curbs, water, sewer, and paving. There's also curbs in other parts of town, the water meters. We had a positive impact from the increased interest rates, so our investments returned more than we had budgeted for, about $185,000 more than we had budgeted for. Fiona had a significant impact on the town and its residents. We were out of power for 10 days was one big thing, but besides that, we spent $230,000 the town did on cleanup, and we're expecting that to be reimbursed by the province and the feds. The province recently renegotiated the Municipal Service Exchange Agreement for all municipalities in Nova Scotia. The province is now taking responsibility on for housing corrections. That saves us about $150,000 a year. But they did, looked at the equalization grant, the formula, and they redid the formula. So our equalization grant is going to go from $500,000 to $438,000, so a drop of $62,000 annually. But that'll be equalized over the first 5 years. So we won't see that drop till the 6th year. But that is offset by reduced expenditures in housing and corrections. Besides that, any other questions or comments for Brenda for the year-end statements? Okay, so I guess we're looking for a motion to accept them, please.
I'd move.
I'll second that.
Moved by Councillor Penn, second by Deputy Mayor Knight. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded. Motion carried, Nancy. Thank you very much, Brenda. We're going to do a proclamation, 2 proclamations. The first is a right to know. September 25th to October 1st, Right to Know Week. Whereas the Town of Stellarton has adopted the principles of openness, transparency, and accountability. Whereas Part 20 of the Municipal Government Act gives citizens a right of access to information that custody under the control of the Town of Stellarton. And whereas access to information ensures citizens of Nova Scotia the opportunity for meaningful participation in the democratic process. And whereas the celebration of the right of citizens to access information will facilitate informed public participation in policy formulation, ensure fairness in government decision-making, and permit the airing and reconciliation of divergent views. And whereas the Town of Stellarton joins all other Canadian jurisdictions and democracies worldwide in acknowledging the Right to Know Week, therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor Daniel McGillivray, Stellarton Town Council, do hereby proclaim Stellarton September 25th to October 1st, 2023, to be Right to Know Week here in the Town of Stellarton. Can I have a motion to that effect, please?
So moved.
Go ahead, Susan.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Moved by Councillor Campbell, seconded by Deputy Mayor Knight. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Contrary minded, motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Our council has always promoted openness and transparency since we were first elected in 2016, so we're always happy to make that acknowledgement each year. Second proclamation is Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorder Awareness Month, September 2023. Whereas fetal alcohol spectrum disorders is a diagnostic term used to describe impacts on the brain and body of individuals prenatally exposed to alcohol, FASD is a lifelong disability. Individuals will experience some degree of challenge in their daily living and need support with motor skills, physical health, learning, memory, attention, communication, emotional regulation, and social skills to reach their full potential. Each individual is unique and has areas of both strengths and challenges. Whereas FASD is a pan-provincial organization that educates, provides supports as a resource and raises awareness about fetal alcohol spectrum disorder in Newfoundland, Labrador, and Atlantic Canada. Whereas is a leading 3-year FASD prevention awareness training and collaborative action project in the 4 Atlantic provinces. Whereas FASD Awareness Month is devoted to raising awareness of fetal alcohol spectrum disorder to improve prevention of FASD and diagnosis and support for individuals with FASD and broad public awareness about FASD on the map. And therefore, I, Daniel McGillivray, Stellarton Town Council, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2023 to be FASD Awareness Month as cause, issues, special occasions, etc. in the town of Stellarton. Have a motion for that too, please.
So move.
I second.
Moved by Councillor Pence, seconded by Councillor Wan. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. We'll move on to the flag raising request, item 7.
Yes, I received an email from Candace Hubley from the Royal Canadian Legion. She is asking the town to consider a flag raising to be flown during the week of September 17th to the 17th to the 23rd and be declared Royal Canadian Legion Week.
So move, Your Worship.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Moved by Councillor Pence, seconded by Deputy Mayor Knight. On the question, we'd be happy to raise the flag of the Legion. Do we have a flag?
I'll be talking to Candy to get all the details, and we'll inform council about any celebration or the flag raising event itself.
Your Worship, point out too that the Legion, I don't know if they're aware, but not, the Legion has a kitchen on Wednesday. They have that
Open
dinner.
Arts program?
Yeah, that program, yeah, and so about 120, she said, attended it. So she's getting good feedback, and she did a survey without anybody's name, since she was telling me. And on the survey, there were people there that were having budget problems, and on Wednesday they were getting a good meal. You know.
Yeah, they're
So,
a very,
it's-
very active
Yeah.
Legion.
Healthy, good meals.
Yeah.
There's about 10 to 15 of the core group seems like that puts it on each week. So we're really thankful for them for doing that for everybody. And it's not just people who have who the income might be an issue, but it's also for socializing,
Yeah.
isolation, things like that.
Yeah.
So it's very beneficial in a number of ways. So we're really proud of all the work the Canadian Legion does in our community. We'd be happy to raise their flag. So on the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary minded, most carried unanimously. Thank you. We'll move on to reports from staff. 8A, Chief Mark Kovac, Stellarton Police Service. Reports included. We had a police commission meeting last week. We went through the report then. Is there any questions, comments?
Question for the chair. There was a speed sign on Poplar Street. Do we have any numbers to report for that?
I didn't have them for the last meeting. Chief was off, as you know, with a hip operation. He just got back. So I imagine the next meeting, but as soon as I get it, I'll forward them to you.
Thank you.
And I'll note that for both July and August, they had about between 80 and 100 hours of foot, bike patrol, traffic enforcement, community relations. So that's what we like to see here in the town of Stellarton, community and policing, and those hours reflect that. So we're happy that the police department does that for us and included in the report. Any questions or comments? I think we can adopt the report. We have a motion.
I move to accept the report.
I'll second that.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Knight, second by Councillor Campbell. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, most carried unanimously. Thank you. 8B is Fire Chief Michael Sullivan, the Fire Department. Reports included. Any questions on the report or comments?
I just would like to add, I was speaking with Chief O'Sullivan, and the new fire truck is expected the end of September.
Oh, awesome, good news.
I move to accept the report, Your Honor.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Knight, seconded by Councillor Pence. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Contrary minded, motion carried. 8C is Paige Draper, Marketing Communications. Any questions or comments in her report?
I'll move the report, Your Worship.
Thank you.
I second.
Moved by Councillor Pence, seconded by Councillor Wan. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Contrary minded, motion carried. 8D, Blaine Mary, Town Engineer.
I just want to comment, Your Worship, on the work the town is doing. It's been stretched thin. We've got that internationals. I think it was supposed to be this weekend, wasn't it? No, I'm sorry, the Atlantics coming up.
Oh, the baseball.
Yes, and with their busy schedule, they still went up, and if you take a look at the field, they did a great job up there, and not only fixing it, but putting signage up and fixing the field up. They did a great job. I mean, even with and built benches and fixed the covering and did a lot of good work. We even got, I think Susan got a phone call from the ball, commenting on what a great job they did up there.
Oh, that's right, the Public Works crew, the Stellarton Area Minor Baseball Association was very pleased with the work the Public Works did up there in the last few weeks, so let's hope the weather sticks for they can play this weekend, we'll see.
Move the report as written, Your Worship.
I'll second that, Your Worship, and I would like to echo Councillor Knight comments. Public Works is stretched very, very thin, and I'm very impressed with the work that they have done. There's lots of more work to do. Some people might be impatient, but I just ask that everybody be patient, and if they understand what we have for resources and what we are doing, we're almost moving mountains. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Warren. So we have a motion on the table.
Yeah.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried unanimously. Thank you. 8E is no the Laurie Active Community Living Coordinator. Reports included. Any questions or comments on that? Okay, if not, have a motion for it, please.
So moved, Your Worship.
I'll second that.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Knight, second by Councillor Campbell. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Contrary minded, motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Move on to correspondence. 9A, Richmond County CAO.
Yes, so Troy McCullough, who is the CAO from Richmond County, had forwarded to all the CAOs in the province that he received a request from a councillor from Pictou County regarding listing a provincial volunteer vulnerable persons registry. So whenever there is something going on, such as a hurricane, that so these vulnerable people can be checked on. So they're asking if the municipality, the Town of Stellarton, wishes to do a resolution, and if so, I can certainly put that on council's agenda in October. If
I
that's what
think
council-
Councillor Lawan brought something up to that not many years ago, a registry for that.
Do we think it's a good idea?
I'll put that on the agenda for October then.
And if you need a resolution, I move.
Do you need a resolution?
I'll put it on the October.
Then you'll need a resolution.
Yeah.
I will thank Troy for that. We'll move on to 9B, Provincial Municipal Service Exchange Agreement.
Yeah, so the mayor alluded to this in his talk with regards to the audit. So the Municipal Service Exchange Agreement has not been looked at, I guess, for the last 30 years. So they finally are putting together some new initiatives. And some of the changes that the municipality will see is with regards to the Municipal Financial Capacity Grant. So we are getting decreased by approximately $60,000 on that, but it will maintain at the the level that we've been used to for the next 5 years. Corrections, the province will absorb the costs associated with the mandatory contributions to corrections, and this is going to save Town of Stellarton approximately $49,000. Obsolete schools. The province will assume ownership of all pre-1981 schools closed after the service exchange is implemented. Municipalities will be given first right of offer. Housing, the province will absorb the annual costs associated with public housing, and this will save approximately $68,000 for the Town of Stellarton. Infrastructure funding, municipalities will be able to leverage a new application based on $15 million infrastructure program, and the details of that program are still being set, but we'll focus on provincial priorities. So those are some of the big things that have changed under the municipal service agreement, and that's for council's information.
Okay, thanks for that update. As the numbers show, that I think it's been a good thing for Stellarton, the renegotiation, and the provincial government also doubled equalization 2 years ago, and then last year gets an extra $500,000 almost for improvements to the municipality, so we're thankful to them for what they're...
There's two costs in there, your worship, that are, is the housing and corrections. They can fluctuate, so you don't know, and you might get a figure this year, and then when the end result comes in, it's much higher, so it's hard to budget for it.
Yeah, and the municipalities are still responsible for education, which is close to over $800,000 for the Town of Stellarton.
Yeah.
Okay, any comments or questions besides on that? To the deputy mayor's point that the housing was budgeted 68 last year, it came in 108.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
There's a lot of fluctuation there, so it'd be good to have some certainty come budget time. 9C, Nova Scotia Office of the Fire Marshal.
Yeah, so this is just some amendments to the Nova Scotia Building Code regulations, just for your information that they've been updated, and we do have copies.
Okay, thank you. 9D, Joe Earl Memorial Road Race.
So the town, under their annual grants, donated to the Joe Earl Memorial Road Races, and that was just a thank you for the town's contribution to that event that takes place in Trenton.
It's our pleasure. Thank you to them for putting on the event. Royal Canadian Air Force.
Yes, the annual Battle of Britain will be taking place on September 24th at 2 o'clock, so council will hopefully be able to attend that. I know we have representation from the police department, the fire department, and the mayor. So the formation will begin at 1:30 at the Cenotaph on Ford Street, and the service will take place at 2 o'clock.
It's on a Sunday this year.
Yes.
Thank you. Roots for Youth, 9F.
Yes, so we have the Roots for Youth has moved to the Town of Stellarton. So they are having a soft, intimate open house on Friday. What they have asked the Town of Stellarton is for a relief on their tax. So if council approves that, we will have to go to 2 readings of an amendment of the bylaw under our tax exemption, and they would just be added to Schedule A. For council's information, the taxes for that property would be about $5,500 a year. So if council wishes, I can certainly add that to the first reading of a bylaw amendment in October. And I can leave that with you, and you don't have to make that decision right now.
Yeah, maybe leave it with us. We'll...
Definitely leave it with you.
Are they a nonprofit?
They are a nonprofit, correct?
We'll think about that, maybe discuss further in the next meeting.
Yep.
9G, NRHS.
So this is the annual grants that we give them to the we do 2 trophies for the high school graduation. The Olton Trophy Award this year was presented to Mallory Matlock and Robert McPherson, and the Aubrey Dorrington Award was presented to Ella Skelton. So they're thanking us for that annual contribution that we do.
Okay, it's our pleasure, and we're proud of them for their work they do at the high school, so thank you for that. This ties into it, 9H.
Yeah, so Mallory, one of the recipients, just thanked the town for that opportunity that will go towards her education. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe her 2 sisters previous received the
I thought
awards
that
as
might
well.
be the case.
Yeah, there's 3 of them, so she's the 3rd. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's great. Okay, 9I, United Way.
So the United Way did an initiative this summer. It was called Backpacks for Kids, and they had a donation box in the town hall where if anyone wanted to bring in school supplies. So they just thanked us for having that opportunity for them to bring that in.
Thank you for putting that on so people have, so children have what they need to go back to school. 9J, Stellarton Area Lions Club.
Yes, so Stellarton Area Lions Club, we donated $300 towards their calendar, and they sent a thank you for our support on that.
I'd like to thank them for all the work they do in our community.
Absolutely. They're very involved in a lot of our community events.
Yeah, homecoming wouldn't be the same without them, that's for sure.
That's right.
Yeah, Your Worship, they're also involved with the,
Christmas tree lighting.
yeah, and the Legion now, they're volunteering there with a Wednesday.
is that right?
Yeah, they combine with them, the two
cool.
groups, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so I guess we move on to number 10, Committee of the Whole report.
The following recommendations are for Council's consideration from the Committee of the Whole meeting that was held on July 24th, 2023. Number 1, on recommendation of Committee of the Whole, Council approved the tender for the South Ford Culvert from CF Construction, the only bidder, in the amount of $97,499 plus HST, requiring more funds from reserves as it was approved at only $75,000. Recommendation number 2, on recommendation of Committee of the Whole, Council approved the tender for St. Vincent Sanitary Sewer from SW Weeks in the amount of $122,450 plus HST. This also requires $22,450 from reserves as it was approved at only $100,000. And recommendation number 3 was recommendation of Committee of the Whole. Council approved the tender cleaning of the reservoir site in back of Cedar Drive from Tupper's Trucking and Backhoeing in the amount of $8,900 plus HST.
So move, Your Worship.
Second, that, Your Worship.
Moved by Councillor Pence, seconded by Deputy Mayor Knight. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Contrary minded, motion carried, thank you. Okay. Number 11, Pictou County Partnership.
Yes, this is for Council's information, is the quarter 1 stakeholder report from the Pictou County Partnership.
Any questions or comments? Thank the Pictou County Partnership for their work. We don't need a motion for that, do we?
Sorry?
We don't need a
No,
motion for
that's
that.
just for your information.
Item 12,
So this is the second and final reading of the amendment to the licensing of street food vendors. Just need your final okay on that one. Yes, please.
I move.
I'll second that.
moved by Councillor Pence, seconded by Councillor Campbell. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried unanimously, thank you. That's now in effect then, that bylaw?
That is now in effect.
Item 13, George Cruz.
Thank you, Your Worship. I put this on the agenda because Mr. Cuyas passed away recently. George Cuyas, maybe not everyone might know the name, but I can bet that everyone would know and recognize what he has created, and that's the brown sauce and Pictou County pizza. We talk about our heritage in Stellarton, about our mining history. We talk about the Sobis family and the grocery giant chain that they have created from Stellarton, from humble beginnings in 1907. I believe what Mr. Cuyas have created has the same effect on our community as those two characteristics that we have had in our history. There are people from all across the world that order, whether it's the sauce or whether it's the whole pizza frozen, shipped through FedEx across the country. A lot of people come back to Pictou County. The first thing they do is go and order a slice of pizza. I know, working with a company that hosts a lot of suppliers and vendors from abroad, from Toronto and from other areas of the country. It's amazing to see how many times I've been asked, so tell me about the Pictou County pizza. In a recent article in the Saltwire magazine, his family talked about him as a hardworking man, loving and fun father. And to us as Pictonian and Stellartonian, I think there was something in the article that I would like to share with everyone because I thought it was very well written. It was a comment by Pictou County Partnership. His name is Wade Thibault. Wade Thibault, Manager of Business Development and Innovation with the Pictou County Partnership, said that while he didn't directly work with Cuyas, he is grateful for all his work, hard work, and positive impact on the community. Pictou County brown sauce pizza has become a key characteristic of the identity of our region. Thanks for George Cuyas for laying the foundation of this now famous characteristic. We have a well-established identity around the staple food, growing Sam's Pizza into a thriving business and contributing to the region's greater identity is a prime example of the contribution small businesses make to our community and their greater impact. People might not really think about small businesses as very impactful, but that's a great example of the impact that a small business can do to us as a small community in Stellarton, but also to the region around us and across Canada. I would like to recognize Mr. Cuyas. I had a chat with Deputy Mayor Knight, and he had an excellent suggestion about doing something in the Heritage Room. Again, as I started the conversation saying, it is part of our heritage. Brian jumped on the opportunity, so I really appreciate it. Thank you. And I would also like to see if there's any appetite to have a George Cuyas Day in Stellarton. Again, we don't celebrate our success as much as we want, and it's unfortunate we waited until his passing to celebrate him and his accomplishment, but that's the least we can do to show our appreciation to his hard work and recognize what he has done to our town. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wand. How does council feel? I think it'd be a great idea to have with the family's input, the display of the Heritage Room. That's a really good idea. And how's council feel about it?
When I look at it, I suppose I'm thinking it now from a different angle, but it's Pictou County Pizza that Councillor Wand's talking about that we're famous for here in Pictou County, the same as we are for Sobeys. I guess it's unique. They're starting to spread. They're starting to grow throughout the province and probably throughout the country. But I would like to maybe have a word at George Cooley's founder of Pictou County Pizza Day or something like that. Are you all right with that, Councillor Wand?
Yes, anything, and as the mayor mentioned, a conversation with the family would be great. So maybe if our communication coordinator can get a hold of the family and see what they wish, what their wishes are, what they would like to see. We are open to anything, and I am open to anything and everything. I think the council would agree. Again, it was a great, hard-working man, and I would like to recognize him.
The thing too, Councillor Wand, as I mentioned, Maria Coolius was over the other day and went through the Heritage Room, and they're quite pleased to have a display of some kind set up in the room for her. I'm just wondering if Paige could reach out to them and see if there's anything that we can do, whether photocopying or whatever, that's with her expertise that could help Maria, because she said she has some skills, but not all the skills that are required.
So we're thinking that would be like one of the display cases, maybe dedicated to.
Yeah, dedicated to them. And like I said, in retrospect and thinking, it is the same as Sobeys is the home of the second largest chain in Canada. So is George Cooley's is the home of the Pictou County Pizza. So we can brag about that as well, I guess.
Okay, we've seen a motion.
I move.
I'll second it.
Moved by Councillor Wand, second by Deputy Mayor Knight. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, most carried unanimously. Said the idea about doing the rotary, the middle of it is a pizza, but
Mayor, if I can make a suggestion, maybe you should reach out to the family
definitely. That's
and
part
let
of
them
it.
know,
That is the
okay?
motion,
Yeah,
yeah.
so they're not caught off guard.
Okay, so that's brings us to open forum. I don't know if there's anyone here who'd like to speak at the open forum, so we can move on to the next council meeting, Tuesday, October 10th, here at the council chambers, 5:30 p.m. Have a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Thank you. Councilor Pence, meeting adjourned.